Hello, everybody. Sarah Bradford here for Dark Critics, and this is the fourth and last post for the Senior Stories feature. Now, you're probably wondering why you're seeing my face and not Caroline's. Well, Caroline and I decided that this week we were going to switch things up a bit for the final post. And so, yeah, now I will be relaying to you my experience of going to Cobble Stone Gardens. So on June 21st, which is a Tuesday, I was able to observe the show at Cobble Stone Gardens, which is a senior care facility or a retirement home. And the space that they performed in was surprisingly small considering that they had to do, I think, around 3 or 4 dance numbers. At the beginning of the show, I was really interested to see how they were going to compensate, and even Caroline, Shanza, and Alicia, I was with them pre-show. They expressed that they were a little worried about the space. So as I was waiting with Shanza and Caroline and Alicia for the show to start, while they were sort of getting ready, they were talking to me about their experiences with the show so far and putting it on in the senior care facilities and various retirement homes. And they said they got a bit of a mixed response, depending on the audience and depending on the capabilities of the people attending. It varied in either very quiet to little to no clapping, or lots of clapping and lots of laughs, which I guess with a show like this, you can't really gauge audience reaction. It really depends on where you go. So as I sat down to view the show, I sat among the older adults, and I was sitting beside a lady who took one look at Caroline's costume and said, "Oh, I used to own a dress just like that. It reminds me of a dress that I made, like, back when I was young." And I was like, you know what? The show hasn't even started yet, and we're all ready. The memories are flooding back. So the first song that plays in the show is "Hey Good Lookin'," and immediately people in the audience were singing along, which I thought was just so awesome. Like, it's great to know that these songs are universal for them and they know the songs, and this audience started off really enthusiastic. It was funny to see their reactions to some of the lines, especially Caroline's lines. Caroline's character, as you've seen in previous posts, I've described her as very rambunctious and a little bit conceited at times. But the audience reacted really well to her character, and they thought she was hilarious, and they seemed to be really charmed by her conceitedness, so that was good. One thing that this group does really well, and I'm assuming it continues through like the rest of their shows, is that they do really well to play out to the audience, because there are some people in the audiences who would be hard of hearing, and they do a good job of not talking at the audience, not yelling at the audience. No moments are dropped, no lines are dropped, especially in this performance. I thought they did a really good job of communicating with the audience. During each of the dance scenes, I think those were the parts that the older adults enjoyed the most. It was so. I'm not even part of this show, and it was just so rewarding to see the smiling faces and the tapping toes all around during the dance, especially during the dance parts. During Mark and Caroline's slow dance to Blueberry Hill, the audience began singing the song Blueberry Hill, and they were swaying from side to side, and oh, it was just wonderful to watch. I think the scene where it got everyone the most excited was during the Crystal Beach scene, when the actors are acting out the various things that they do, like being on a roller coaster, getting cotton candy, playing arcade games. I did notice, however, that I don't know if Caroline, Mark, Shanza, and Alicia were scared of maybe being too loud during the roller coaster scene, but I noticed that, like, when you're on a roller coaster, you're probably screaming pretty loud. I thought that it was a little tame for them acting out being on a roller coaster. I don't know if that was just a choice because they didn't want to be too loud as to disturb some of the people in the audience. Some people have hearing aids. It might be too loud. I'm not sure. But the rest of that scene, once again, it just inspired so much enthusiasm in the audience, especially at the roller coaster scene. If anything, I'm pretty sure I heard some of the people screaming along with the roller coaster, which was pretty funny. As Monica and the cast have told me before, the theme of Senior Stories this year is about love and courtship and what young people liked to do after World War II. And I think that through, especially through a few of the monologues, particularly Shanza's monologue about her falling in love with her boyfriend Henry, and the slow dance between Mark and Caroline, and all these little details, I think, really hit that theme home. And you could see it on the faces of the older adults who were watching and looking back on times that they used to have. And it was really clear to see that they got that. They got what the theme was supposed to be. And there were oohs and ahs during some of the more romantic scenes, which was really cool. This audience was so enthusiastic that at the end, when Mark invited up some people to dance with them at the end when they play music, they had one gentleman named Mario come up and dance with Alicia, and then two other ladies decided to come on up and dance, which was really nice. And everybody else who was still sitting down just sat there and clapped and listened to the music. All in all, I really enjoyed the experience of not only seeing the show once again up on its feet, because prior to this I've already seen a full dress rehearsal, but it was completely different getting to see it in the midst of the older adults who essentially helped to create the stories. And as was reiterated in previous posts, although not all of the stories were used, all of the specific names and places were used in the stories, I think the experiences of love and courtship and having a good time and being with friends and getting a little rambunctious and crazy is one of those universal topics that I think reaches not just the older adults in the St. Catharines community, but also reaches audiences of all ages, which this show, I think, totally, does 100%. Well, this has been the fourth and final post for our Senior Stories feature, our little behind-the-scenes look at the creation of Senior Stories. Thank you very much for watching and reading and keeping up with what's going on. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we hope that you enjoyed it.